hope you guys are doing well. It's amazing to see this community of men you brought together. It's truly amazing, you know. Society now, I don't know if you've been living under a rock or not, but as we can see, like society now it's pretty dark. There's a lot of different truths going around, different doctrines, different ways of living, what people deem as success. And it's like, you know, it can get you questioning yourself, like, you know, what's the purpose of living? Why am I here? What is success all about? What school am I supposed to go to? What job am I supposed to work at? Am I supposed to be an entrepreneur? But I'm here to tell you all today that all of you young men have a role to play in the society, and each and one of you have a purpose. Now, before we even get to purpose and identity and all that stuff, we gotta go back to the basics. And it's what it truly means to be a man. Now let me ask you guys this. Really, just think to yourself, what does it mean to be a man? Is it the amount of money you have? Is it the amount of cars you own? Is it the amount of women you had sex with? Or it could be about, maybe you thought of leadership, discipline. You know, being a man is all about self-control, discipline. Whatever the answer is, just keep that in the back of your head. Now here's the thing, when I think of being a man, I think of this one scenario. How many of you guys have siblings? Younger or older siblings? Okay, so majority of people. If you don't have younger or older siblings, it's totally cool, just imagine this scenario, okay? So, I have an older brother, okay? I'm the younger sibling. And when I think of the phrase, quote unquote, be a man, I think of when I was younger, me and my older brother would always play fight, all right? And we were huge fans of WWE. So that would just amplify the play fighting even more, you know? And I remember this one moment where it was one night where, you know, things escalated a little bit. You know, one brother hits the other a little too hard, and then you get back at him, and then, you know, that back and forth. And I remember this one moment where my brother takes up this stiff rubber ball with a handle, and he goes and he whips it across my face, right? And this is like me being, I think I was around like 6 years old here. So, yeah, okay. So, you know, I would obviously start crying, but it was one of those silent cries. You know those charge up cries when you're a little kid? Right before the loud wailing comes. So my brother caught on to that, and he came up, he was like, shh, stop. It's okay, don't cry. Right? And this is what he says to me. He says, while I'm about to cry, while I'm crying, right? And he's like, come on, just be a man. Just be a man, don't cry, just be a man. And guess what? I looked at him and I thought about it. I was like, yeah, should be a man. And guess what? I went downstairs and I kept crying. I went downstairs and I snitched on him, right? So, I mean, you know, but that stood out to me. That stuck out to me a lot. Like growing up, it's like, whenever I would get emotional, it's like, yeah, you know, I should just man up a little bit, you know? But the reason I say that scenario is the answers that you guys thought of when I asked, what does it mean to be a man? I want you guys to apply that to that scenario right there. So let's say you said being a man was about money, how much money you made. Apply that to that scenario. Let's say I'm crying and my brother's like, come on, just be a man. If your definition is about being a man is making money, he'd essentially be saying, come on, just make $1 million. What? I'm 6 years old, you know, that doesn't make sense. So where I'm going at with this is, being a man is about character. And within that character, it's the foundation of your life, and the foundation of your life leads to the principles that you live by, and the principles that you live by lead to the overall structure of your life, your boundaries, everything. And all of this dictates the man you are and the man that you will become. Okay, now before we dive deep into foundation, I want to dive a little deep into my story, my testimony. I won't take too long. And this is a story that I don't think I've ever told anybody, not even my closest friends. You know, my closest friends here, they'll probably, you know, connect the dots, you know, they were there for little bits and pieces, but this whole story, no. So can I be honest with you guys? Yeah? Thank you. So growing up, I grew up in an amazing household. One older brother, mom, dad, amazing family of 4. They took care of me. I lived in a great home, always had food on the table. Amazing family. And growing up as a kid, I was addicted to I loved video games. Absolutely loved it. And I had a lot of freedom and access to the internet because, well, I got Asian parents. They don't know jack about the internet. All they really emphasized on me was be a good, respectful kid. And number 2, get straight A's on your report cards. And if not, that bell's coming out. Okay. And so little did I know that freedom and that access to the internet, that ability to just play any game I wanted was going to be a double-edged sword because I would experiment with different types of websites. And I would come across different types of ads. And little did I know I would come across pornography at 6 years old. Right? And that was a seed planted to my addiction in middle school because throughout elementary I would dibble-dabble here and there, but I'm not going to lie to you and say I was addicted at 6 years old, but that was the seed planted. And then fast forward to middle school, that's when my addiction began, where it was an everyday thing. Every day, every morning before school, I would get one off. It's dark. It's tough. It's terrible. But that's the reality I was living in. And on top of that, in middle school, I would say I was a people pleaser. Right? I found my worth in putting others over me, which may seem to you like, yeah, you're just being unselfish, but not when it's out of a foundation and a place of insecurity, of pornography, and just overall darkness. Instead of it being genuine love, it was out of desperation. Instead of it being genuine love, it was out of thirst for validation, because I found no worth in myself. So that's the first instance. No principles, no foundation, no structure. And now we fast forward to high school, right? And this is where I meet a girl. Hey. You know what I'm saying? But this wasn't no ordinary girl in a sense where I came up to her, I was like, hey girl, you're cute, let me get your Snapchat. This is when we really get to know principles. It was the same girl that my best friend was talking to. The fact that some of you didn't react might be a problem. There's something, if you don't know, called the bro code. And essentially it's, don't talk to your homies' girls, okay? But here's the thing though, side note, they weren't serious like that, they were just talking, ended off a good note. We didn't beef about it or anything, we didn't get into an altercation, so just side note. But anyways, I was talking to this girl and it was around a 4 month relationship. We didn't get into a serious, relationship as in like me and her were just talking. And I was head over heels for her. I was in love, man, and I was what society calls now a nice guy, right? And she took advantage of that. She manipulated me, she played with my feelings, and it was that cycle for 3-4 months. And there was a point in time where I was like, I'm done with this. And right around that time, coincidentally, a video pops up on my YouTube recommended. And you know what it said? Stop being a nice guy. So I was like, this is coincidental. I click on it and yeah, it's amazing. Started binge watching those videos. It's called the red pill self-improvement, female nature type of videos to where really I was just understanding, how females acted, why females acted the way they act. And essentially the main lessons that I got from watching those videos was, for one, I need to get my stuff together and I need to actually focus on myself and stop focusing on these girls. And number 2, all these females are hoes. In better words, it's all females are promiscuous. That was the okay. Let's keep it professional, right? But listen though, I'm being honest with you guys. That's genuinely the thought process I had, and it was emphasized even greater because I was still addicted to pornography. So me being exposed to that, seeing that every day, it's like, okay, yeah, you know, all these girls just care about sex. All these girls care about, right? And so I said, you know what, let me just use this time to improve on myself, and I started going to the gym. I made a pretty good change for myself physically, and I said, you know what, let me start a social media page, let me start helping people get into fitness. I started to find some sort of purpose and direction in my life. And over this time of, you know, finding myself and chasing purpose, I was getting deeper into the self-improvement videos to where I started questioning myself. I started questioning, you know, who am I? What is my identity? What kind of principles do I live by? You know, because a lot of the self-improvement YouTubers, yeah, it was giving me some good pointers. And so I took that and I asked myself those questions to just find myself more. But here's the thing though. This journey of finding myself, quote unquote, I didn't know that I would just see a complete hole of darkness, just a pit of darkness, right? Me finding myself, all I could see is darkness, and I'm just sitting here like, how am I supposed to change myself? And I started going into a rut. But luckily enough, around this time, I was slowly getting closer to God. You know, my parents, Catholic, they made me go to church every Sunday, so there would be instances where like a Bible verse would be popped up there, I'm like, huh, that can apply to my life. That kind of, you know, resonates with me. And so I started getting into the faith a little more and stuff like that. And I thought, you know what, around that time, if I'm asking myself what kind of principles I'm living by, might as well just, you know, dive a little deeper into my faith and, you know, see if God's principles are worth living. And I dove into the Bible. And I tried my best to live by that. But I found myself constantly in the same cycle of ruts, of pornography. It was killing me, it was eating me. And it brought me to this pit of darkness. And now we're in November, December 2023. To where now I'm at the lowest of the lowest. No motivation for my purpose. Absolute in the gutter. And I said, you know what? Let me just go all in on this Jesus thing. I got nothing to lose anyways, right? I've tried all these years, I've been trying to overcome this addiction by myself. I've been trying to find myself and go through all these journeys, through this entire journey by myself. Might as well, let's go all in. Let's give my life to him. Fast forward now, that was January 2024 when I gave my life to him. Fast forward now, I never watched pornography since. He delivered me completely from that pornography, and now I'm sitting here preaching to God. Thank you. Praise God. Praise God. But God really changes lives. It's amazing. But let's go back to the beginning now where I said what being a man was. What was being a man? It's about character. And within that character is your foundations, the principles you live by, and the overall structure of your life now. Right? And so I want to tie a Bible verse into this about foundation. I want you guys to listen very carefully. Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, it says, "Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added onto you." That's quote unquote the exact verse. Now, when he says all these things added onto you, what does that mean? In context, Jesus was talking to his disciples, and he was saying, yo, stop worrying about tomorrow. Stop worrying about the future. Stop living in the future, right? Don't worry about what food you're gonna eat. Don't worry about the clothes you're gonna wear. Like, all of that, God will provide for you. All of that is supposed to be an add-on. So, what does this have to do with character? It's the same way with you. When you chase God and when you put him first as the main foundation of your life, all of these things will be added onto you. Your character, leadership, discipline, the traits of a man that God designed you to be and to live by. All of that will be added onto you. But see, what a lot of you guys are doing and what a lot of men are being taught nowadays is to build what they call foundation of their life as an add-on. Meaning, you guys think that, yes, I'm building a firm foundation, but really they're just add-ons, and they're fragile. They're fragile pieces. Wow. Okay? So, let's start with, money. Money being the number one thing. And then you got your relationships, and you got all this stuff. And then some of you will say, okay, then I put the strong foundation over the top. Then I'll put God here. And some of you may not even have the foundation there. God might just be sitting there. And there'll come a point in time where things break because you've built your life on just this fragile piece that's not gonna last you. And everything comes crumbling down the moment a big setback hits. Boom, everything comes crushing down. And you're left with these broken pieces, broken relationships, breakups, bankruptcy in your business, whatever it is. And so this leads to the next question you might have, and then I'm pretty much almost done here, so just stay with me for a little bit. How do you know what your foundation is? Right, this might be the question you have. And I want to tie another Bible verse to this. To some of you, this might sound like gibberish. It's okay, I'm gonna simplify it. So just listen to this Bible verse. Matthew chapter 6, verse 19 to 21. It says, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust can destroy, and where thieves can break in and steal. But rather store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust cannot destroy, and where thieves cannot break in and steal. For where your treasure is stored, there your heart will be also." Remember what I said at the beginning, masculinity is all about character. And where is character? It comes from within. It's your heart posture. So where your treasure is stored, there your heart is also. So what you chase and what you invest in, what your eyes are so fixated on, whatever your foundation, that is your foundation. The number one in your life, the eyes, what you think about every single day, where you're focused on, that is your foundation. And I want you to ask yourself, is that a firm foundation? Is it? As a man, it's important you have a strong foundation. Being a man is about character. It's not the external things, because if being a man was about the external things, it's about money, fame, all that stuff, what happens when you take that away? Are you any less of a man? Doesn't really make sense. So I ended off right here. Being a man is about character. And within that character, it's the foundations you live by. And the foundations you live by lead to the principles of your life. And the principles you live by lead to the overall structure of your life. And all of that dictates the man you are and the man that you will become. Thank you.